Hi, welcome to today's video. I hope that you guys can find the time to watch this today. This is going to be kind of a spotlight first impressions of the Extreme Visionary palette. This is mine right here. This is the new Hemp infused eyeshadow palette from PUR. And I'm so glad that I'm getting to try this out today. I think that it's gonna be really fun. So if you guys wanna see how I got this really kind of smoky blown out spotlight eye, go ahead and keep on watching. Okay guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna open up my palette here and I'm gonna start with the shade Idealist. This is kind of just to start building up a little bit of that warm tone on my eyelid. I kind of prepped my lid with a little bit of foundation, what was left on my sponge. So I'm just taking this with a nice kind of rough, fluffy brush and blending it kind of all over the lid, above my crease, up into the brow bone. It is a very pale kind of peach color. The next color that I'm going into is going to be Role Model. So this is going to add a little bit more of the mauve tones. Now I'm putting this directly into the crease. So this is going to start out in that far out corner, and then it's gonna go progressively into the inner corner as we begin to build. These two shades together should be more like a transition shade. Still just building up Role Model, going back and forth with Idealist to kind of blend it out and add some dimension. Now you can do one side of your eye when you're doing this, or you can do both sides. I like to do both as I'm going along. Now I'm taking a little bit of Role Model in the outer corners of both eyes to kind of build up the depth of the eye, so that way whenever I add more deep tones to this look, it's not going to be a harsh line between my eyeshadow colors. Next thing, I'm going to take a clean, fluffy brush and I'm going to kind of diffuse everything that I just did into my eye. I like to kind of create a blown out soft look, and I'm going to grab another fluffy brush to go in with something darker. Now I'm going into the shade Tycoon and Rebel, kind of mixing them together on this more detailed fluffy brush. Now I'm gonna start by stamping that directly into the outer corner and deeper into my crease. What this is going to do is that this is going to build up that color that we were talking about when adding dimension. This is gonna help it look a little bit more deep set. It's gonna give it a little bit more of that red kind of undertone. And then I'm gonna blend it out with that clean brush again, so that way it's clean lines, no harsh lines, and it's gonna look really blown out and smoky. Next, I'm going into the shade Tycoon again. This is gonna go into the inner corner of my eye, so that way I can kind of control that look a little bit more, give it a little bit more extra depth. This is the whole point of a spotlight eye, is to bring out the most forward part of the eye, making the green in my eyes stand out a little bit more. If you don't have green eyes, that's fine. It'll just make the center of your eyes stand out more. It honestly, in my opinion, makes your eyes look bigger. Every time I add a shadow at this point, I'm going in with a clean, fluffy brush to kind of diffuse it. That's how you keep it very blown out and very blended. Okay, now we're gonna go into Optimist, which is kind of a deep purple shade. I love this because purple is the opposite of green. However, if you have dark blue eyes, purple's really just gonna make them look even more blue, like a brighter blue. Obviously, if you have brown eyes, it doesn't really matter what you wear, because you're lucky and you get to wear whatever you like. But I really love these warm tones of this eyeshadow palette because it really brings out the cooler tones in my eyes. And I also love the color payout that I'm getting from this. Okay, now I've taken some Love Your Selfie. I'm putting it on the back of my hand, and I'm going to start with a kind of concealer brush. This is more like a lip brush, but I use it for detail concealer. And I'm gonna start by stamping that into the middle. Oops, dropped it. Start by stamping that into the middle of my eyelid. And then I'm going to blend this out a little bit later. So I like to do both sides, kind of let it set a little bit, dry a little bit, so that way when you go in to blend this out, it's not going to wipe away everything that's underneath it, like the eyeshadow that's underneath it. Try and get it as symmetrical as possible. Now I'm taking my finger and I'm just blending out the edges so that way I can get that nice rounded out look. And as you can see, it's already making that center part of my eye look a little bit more forward. It makes it pop out a little bit more. Now I'm taking my finger with the two shades, Dreamer and Girl Boss, and I'm kind of mixing them together on there, and I'm just stamping it over the area that I just put the concealer down. This is in order to set it, but this is also going to add that really bright touch of luminosity, a slight bit of metallic sheen to the center of my eye, thus giving it a kind of wet look, but also bringing out that center of the eye, which is what this is all about. I'm gonna dip back into Optimist and I'm going to kind of blend out those edges, make sure that there's no harsh lines, and also add a little bit more depth in there. That's what this look is all about, is the dimension. Okay, as you can see, I've put on some of my favorite mascara. It is the Fully Charged Mascara, Primer, and Mascara. I just love this combo because I feel like it makes my lashes look forever long. And I'm going into the shade Optimist with a flat, fluffy brush. Yes, you heard it right, a flat, fluffy brush, to kind of blend it out into the outer and inner corner of the under eye area. I also swept off my bake so that way I could get into those areas easier. You don't have to do that. I was just putting on mascara, so I decided to do it anyway. I like to do both eyes in this stage just so that way I can make sure I'm getting it as even as possible. You'll actually see me use my fingers to try and blend it out a little bit. But basically, this is just carrying on the same theme and same colors that we used on the eyelid underneath, so that way we can continue making the eye look larger. All right, now I'm gonna dip into the shade Tycoon with a softer, more detailed, fluffy brush. This is just going to deepen up those areas. I love this shade because it's more like a brown with a little bit of a mauve undertone. So it's gonna blend into that purple really, really well, but it's gonna make my eyes look even more green because those purples and browns are gonna just blend together, thus making the green pop out. Now I'm gonna go into the shade CEO, which is kind of like a bronze shimmery shade, and I'm going to take it on a very, very fine detail brush and blend both of those shadows together, the Optimist and the Tycoon. I like to go all the way across, especially when I'm going underneath my eyes. I feel like it's not going to draw as much attention to my fine lines under there. Yes, I have fine lines. I don't sleep very well. It's fine. But this is going to blend those shades together and it's going to make it look more uniform. And then we're gonna go back in with a brighter shade to kind of make it pop out just a little bit more. Adding a little bit more to the center of my lid up there with that shade CEO. And then I dipped into the shade Girl Boss, which I did not show. It's more of a pinky glittery shade to put on the inner corner and a little bit underneath that eye there. Just taking my fingers, pushing those lashes back up, and I'm gonna push you guys back out. Now we're gonna work on the face. So what I like to do is I actually like to blend everything out before I go into work on the face, so that way I can make sure I pick up any fallout and make sure that all of my lines are super blended. Now what we're gonna do is I'm going to actually pick up the shadows again, and we're gonna do a little bit more highlight and blush on the face to bring back the color. So now we're dipping into the shade Pioneer as a blush topper. This is going to help increase the peachiness of my blush. I am wearing the PUR Peach blush in this, but it's a little matte for my taste and I like to glow a little bit. So Pioneer is gonna be that perfect pinky peachy sheen on my face. I love putting a little bit on my nose and on my temples though to kind of warm everything up. I do like to neutralize almost all the color out of my face just because I struggle with a little bit of breakout and a little bit of redness, but this is just going to help bring that color back in there. Now I'm going to be dipping into Innovator and a little bit of Girl Boss as a highlight, and just starting at the very top of my cheek, I'm going to take that, blow it out towards the hairline and upward towards the brow bone. I like to do this step on both sides. I feel like it's going to make my highlight show up a little bit better, but it also makes sure that I can get that gleam nice and even on both sides. All right, guys. I think that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I'm so glad that you found it entertaining. I'm so glad that I got to use the Extreme Visionary palette from PUR. I really love this look. It's kind of my interpretation of a spotlight eye. So I hope that you guys can pick this up. Make sure that when you check out though, you use my discount code for 25% off. It's ColbyAE when you check out on purcosmetics.com. Hope you guys have a great day and see you on the next one.